Well, it's Monday. I just came in from outside. So, I had stuff set up already. Because I was going to do some videos today. So, I left stuff out from yesterday, the day before yesterday, Saturday. So, anyway, I'm going to go outside, I think, today. And, maybe make a video or two out there. But it's in the 20s right now. It's in the 20s. This is the ultimate double scarf. Really does a really awesome job. Any of you guys still in the military out there that have one or two of these laying around, you got to sew them together like I did there. You will definitely reap the benefits. Yeah. So, what was I going to talk about this morning? I was going to talk about weather a bit and some other stuff. Get some coffee. And talk about the stove a little bit. So, talk about weather first. So with weather, I live in New England. New England weather is can be wild in New England. It could be really, really dangerous weather. You know, and it could be dangerous, and people will not think it's dangerous, if that makes any sense. Because they'll think, oh, the danger's over, and then here comes something else. So you constantly got changes in the weather here. It's constantly going from cold to bitter cold to, ice box cold to then the next day, it could be 30 degrees, which is warm. 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So, which is below 0 in Celsius. But, and then, so, and you could have rain. So you have rain, and then that will freeze, and then you'll get like sheets of ice in your driveway. And in my case, I have a gravel driveway, so I can get out there. I have a 6-foot long wrecking bar, and it's used for breaking rocks and stuff in holes that you're digging and things like that. Break up, decent sized rocks so you could just pull them out in smaller pieces. I mean, it's designed for demolition. But anyway, you could use that on ice on a gravel driveway. And not worry about any repercussions of hitting the driveway. If you had a concrete driveway or a blacktop driveway, then you could damage your driveway. But I'm on a slight incline on my driveway, so that means it could potentially become an ice slide, for the vehicle, right? So so you do things to work around that sort of stuff, One thing you could do, even if you have four-wheel drive, you know, which I do have four-wheel drive, but if you're on a slight incline and it's all ice, you could throw down large rock salt. You could throw that down, and that will act like little diamonds for the weight of your vehicle. The tires will press on those pieces of rock salt and dig into the ice. Okay, so that's one thing that you could do, because you can't just be breaking ice all the time. Sometimes the ice gets thick. I mean, real thick. You know, get a slab. Be out there 2 days working at one little section. You know, it gets that thick, and you know, sometimes it's just impossible to keep up with, because it could go from freezing rain to deep freeze, and then freezing rain again to deep freeze, freezing rain, deep freeze. You know, it could do that several days in a row, and then it just keeps building up and building up, and there's no way you could keep up with it. Even if you started from day one and kept on it all, you'd have to be out at 24 hours a day keeping that ice down. So now, another thing you could do, if you don't have four-wheel drive and a heavy vehicle like what I got, I have a heavy vehicle and four-wheel drive. But if it's a light vehicle, and let's say you have front-wheel drive or just rear-wheel drive, and it's a light vehicle and you're on a slight incline on your driveway, you know, I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about you know, slight incline, like 20 to 25 degrees, right? So if you have that, then you could put the rock salt on top, and then at the end of your driveway, before you get to the street, put a berm of crusty snow, right? Snow, which will become partially ice, right? But put a small berm of crusty snow, which will act as a curb. So if you can't quite stop, you're going super slow, put it low range, go super slow going down the driveway on the rock salt. Sand is good too. Sand is good too, but you won't get the bite on a hill like you will with the rock salt. I don't like using rock salt, and I haven't even used it once this year, and I used it very sparingly the year before. I think rock salt, it's not good for the environment. It's not good for the trees and stuff. We've got a lot of dead trees across the highway over there, and I think maybe it's because previous owners of my property probably use rock salt all the time. Maybe it might have damaged some of their trees over there. I don't know. I can't say for certain, and I'm not paying for an investigation into it. But rock salt has some uses, though. Rock salt destroyed my brake system on my truck. I had my whole brake system replaced. You know, I mean, it's over 20 years old, but still, it would have lasted another 10 or 15 years if there wouldn't have been, the roads hadn't been salted every winter here, you know. So, wash your vehicle off, which is something that I regularly do anyway in the winter. Wash your vehicle's undercarriage, you know. But getting back to that slight incline driveway, if you put a small curb of icy snow at the bottom, you know, something that could potentially stop your vehicle from a slow slide, you know, that's something to think about, because it works. All right, so trying to think of anything else here. There's going to be some sections of your driveway which will melt off first. Wherever it's bare, make sure that you're, like, let's say it gets kind of bare in one section down there. Make sure that whatever side of the car that's on, whether it's on driver's side or passenger side, Uh, let's say it's a bare section down your driveway on the passenger side. Make sure the passenger side wheels definitely go over that area so that you could come to a complete stop and get control of the slide, right? So yeah, there's no need to like freak out about it. You just got to learn to handle it. It's like anything else. You mitigate how badly it could get for you. So yeah, so I don't worry about weather whatsoever. Weather doesn't bother me. As a matter of fact, I didn't even check the weather forecast lately. But what happened the other day was we had a blizzard here, which lasted, half the night or whatever. We got about, I think we got about 12 inches that day. We had a few more inches before that. And then we got some more snow after that. We ended up with about 18 inches or something total. And, which is fine. Doesn't bother me in the least. I've seen, feet of snow before. So, which is a lot of fun, if you have the toys to go and play in it. But, what else? Well, yesterday evening I was in the village, and I was walking somewhere, and there was like just a few snowflakes. It was like, I mean, a snowflake every 500 feet. It was really almost nothing. You could barely perceive it that there was any snow. And then I went into the store, and then I was there for a few minutes, and I came out, and it was just like, like when you have rain, right? When all of a sudden it's not raining and then it's pouring, right? But in this case, it's snow, right? That is like a blizzard like condition, but it only lasted for a very short period of time. So a snowstorm is something that's gonna like build up. You're gonna have some serious snow, right? Blizzard is kind of like a squall. If you know what a squall is like a very intense rainstorm, and it may not last that long. But yeah, that's what a blizzard is. Blizzard's like a period of time. It could last, it could be short and it could be long. It could actually, you could have a blizzard for the whole time of a snowstorm. You follow what I'm saying? You could the whole duration of a storm could be a blizzard. But a blizzard is actually where the snow is coming back down so hard and fast that you can't keep up with it if you're like taking snow off of windows or something like that. And it generally generally it's if it gets bad enough, it will be a whiteout to where you cannot see at all, right? Um, yeah. Generally, if it's a whiteout, you will not be able to see at all. In the blizzard conditions I drove in the other day, it was technically it would be termed a whiteout, but I could still see, right? If I could see 10 feet in front of my vehicle to 20 feet in front of my vehicle, and I have to get home, then, and I know the way really well, obviously, I'll drive in it because the vehicle can handle that. But, it's not a good idea to be driving in a whiteout if you can help it, right? Better to stay home. Unless, of course, you're not going to be driving on the roads going to, get milk and bread, right? And, it's okay to be out in a whiteout if you're messing around woods or out in the backyard or whatever, that's fine. As long as you know what you're doing in the cold weather and you appropriately prepared, you know, got appropriate shelter abilities, uh, you know, it all depends on you and your skills, right? The timer was, so I'm over 15 now, but now I don't worry about it too much. I've been testing, how far I could get. I haven't chanced 40 minutes yet, but I've been up to 30. I don't really think I want to go too long because then people get bored, Yeah. So this stove, this is a Bush Buddy, and it doesn't come with a bag, which I'm kind of surprised, but there is a lot of work in it. These are handmade, so yeah, it was like $100, I guess. It was around there. I don't remember exactly, but I'd seen these for years, for a few years online, and even before that, the Canadian fellow that was making them first, he took an apprentice to teach the guy in Alaska how to make them. See, I even got a piece of leather in there yet. Generally, we'll do my tinder on the piece of leather and then transfer everything in. So it's so much easier to do that. Get the tinder all lit on that piece of leather and then just kind of pour it into the fire lay or the stove. So I've only used this once, just once, but I'm gonna probably use it today just to mess around with it. The thing is it's not very large, so if you're gonna be real lightweight minded, you might consider that. It's got a nice grate in there, so you don't really have to worry about burning it out, at least not anytime soon. So it does have a nice grate in there, stainless steel, double wall. It's a gasifier stove, so it draws air in down here, and that air goes inside, does its thing, and any, gases start to build up in there, and then those gases get ignited and they burn off. So it's like creates a more efficient stove burn. Thing about it is that you can't really load it too terribly heavy on the fuel, because it's a small stove. It only has a small area here to work with, so you're gonna have to have some extra on hand to feed it. And then the nice thing about it is that it will burn off to almost nothing, right? So there's no waste wood, right? So it will burn off to almost nothing, and it gets cool very fast. So don't look at making 4-course meals or more on it like some YouTubers, like Mr. Dixon over in Sheffield with his multiple course dinners. He loves to cook, so I don't think that this would be good for him for multiple course meals, because it's just very small. Maybe if you're going out trapping or hunting and you want to keep your kit down and weight that's going to sustain you while you're out, maybe something like that. I don't know if I ever read what the principal idea behind the whole stove was for from the Canadian fella. I don't even remember his name anymore. Anyway, it says Bush Buddy on the bottom here. Handcrafted in USA. Yeah. And that's just barely in there. I mean, it's barely in there. It looks like maybe it was done with the laser engraving or something, but it's just barely engraved in there. That's probably because, you know, it's fairly thin. You know, don't need it super thick in there. You could tell it's a Bush Buddy. It's definitely a piece of craftsmanship. I know that this is not a review, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the stove because it is pretty cool. You could definitely see a quality difference between this and the Solo stoves out there. You could tell that this is a handcrafted quality piece of kit. And yeah, so I'm gonna probably go ahead and use this today. I'll talk a little bit about things for you to carry in the bush that will make your life easier using this stove. I've already prepared a pack to go out, and still snow back there, but yeah, this is not the best bag. The bag's pretty good, but this cord and this right here, the cord is too thin, really. This ball doesn't want to grip. See that? So that's supposed to like keep it secure there. But if I hold the side of the ball, yeah, and see there's the button right there. I'm not even touching the button. Okay, there's the button. Yeah, that's quality. But this bag did not come with the Bush Buddy. It doesn't come with a bag. You gotta provide your own. I think most people like to make their own bags and stuff anyway, you know, or they like to support a small cottage industry company which makes bags for you know, for the purpose. Coffee. Yeah. Alright, come back to another one. I will see you there.